Hello, everybody. I'm here today with Martha Maurno. She is a co-owner of Box Elder Behavioral Health. Welcome, Martha, to this week's Business Spotlight interview.
Thank you so much. I'm very pleased to be here.
So you and your husband own a Box Elder Behavioral Health. Tell me a little bit about the business and how long you've been doing this.
Okay, we started the business back in 2016. We were originally an LLC and then became an S Corp a few months later. And it was primarily live type of therapy. And then after about 2 years or so of having some clients like that, maybe a couple of virtual, COVID hit. And basically there wasn't anything going on live anymore. Everything shut down. But of course, the needs of clients didn't shut down and they needed services and help. So we had to find a way to regroup everything and find an online video platform that would be HIPAA compliant and allow us to see clients. And then we had to get on all these different insurance panels that before they didn't necessarily see virtual counseling as something that was credible. But after COVID, then they just realized, well, they have to accept it because that's all that can be offered to everybody. And we ended up getting on about 6 or 7 different insurance panels. And we signed up for some referral services like MD Live and everything to build up our clientele. But then what ended up happening slowly but surely, like word of mouth, and people would recommend us and the community got to know us. So now I would say at least 80% of the clients are clients that seek us out, like through our website or through a recommendation. So we don't really have many referral services anymore just because we really can't handle it. We're very busy. And then on top of that, we hired 3 residents. We're looking to hire a 4th right now. And these are people that my husband directly supervises, and they are working on getting their counseling license, and they have to be under somebody who has the supervisory license and has a lot of experience. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in addition to they're providing us some help, they kind of complement my husband's skills. They have skills that's in substance abuse and women's issues and everything. He also provides supervision of these clients. So we have evolved from like a practice of 1.5, because I was still working at my other job, to now the 2 of us doing it full-time together, and then also having 3 people on staff in addition to our own accountant.
It sounds like even though you had to pivot during COVID, it was really actually a good thing for your industry altogether.
It really was, yes, and allowed us to grow and also to have the freedom to be able to work wherever we want with no overhead or office space. And it affords our clients that same flexibility as well. They don't have to come all the way to an office. They could find a private spot during a lunch hour and just do their session then. So it's been mutually beneficial, I think.
Yeah. So has there been any part of doing everything virtually that has you've found a little more difficult, or maybe is not as advantageous as doing face-to-face?
One of the biggest issues we've had to deal with is some people just not being comfortable with that they would rather do face-to-face. So we had some training in that, how to make clients feel comfortable and how to make it seem like you're face-to-face, even though you're not. And then after a while, the clients started feeling more comfortable with it. Most of them, there's still some who absolutely will not do that and just want to do face-to-face. Yeah. So that can be a little bit tough sometimes. And also just maybe in general, you know, no matter how hard you try, it's not quite as personalized as seeing someone face-to-face. But I guess you weigh the pros and cons, and just like the flexibility of it and everything outweighs, you know, those things that may not be perfect about it.
Yeah, definitely it becomes more flexible for on both sides. I can totally see that. So other than the COVID, what are some of the biggest issues or challenges you've had to overcome since you've started the business?
I would say one of them is just like in the beginning, you're trying to build up your business. So you try to help just about every client that you can. And then, of course, everyone has, their niche clients and their expertise. So you want to try to refine that. But then by the same token, you don't want to tell people, oh, no, we won't accept you into our practice. So it was kind of a fine line between what to do about that. So that's why we ended up bringing in residents that had other types of expertise. That's one of the challenges. And also like sometimes financial challenges with clients, because we're a business and we can't be losing money on clients who perhaps, don't have money, to pay their sessions and everything, or maybe their insurance has a big deductible and they can't meet that. So we do the best we can to, especially with long-term clients, to be flexible and offer payment plans, but you also have to keep everything going. So it's a fine line between those two things, and having the clients feel supported, but also be able to support our business.
Who do you serve really? I mean, who's your best customer, your target audience?
I would say children that are 13 or older, and then adults, particularly those that are suffering from anxiety, depression, PTSD, OCD. And then my husband also has a special certification as a certified sex offender treatment provider. So clients who are on parole and need that training and services so that they can basically stay out of prison and be able to get reformed and meet with court orders. And then to our residents, we also offer things like postpartum and women's health issues and substance abuse. So between everybody, we offer most of the services that somebody would need. But as far as, my husband and myself as co-owners, those would be like the perfect ideal client for him.
So are you able to provide services outside of Virginia, or is it just within the state of Virginia?
Actually, we are also a license in North Carolina, so we can provide there. And we just happen to like New Mexico, and we spend a lot of time there. So he's also licensed in New Mexico. So,
Right.
so we have quite a variety of clients, and we actually see clients from all three geographic regions.
Okay, excellent. So what's been the biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
Oh, goodness. Well, originally I was a teacher, so I really didn't have any background at all on starting a business or anything. So I guess since I'm a teacher, I'm good at teaching myself things and reading and researching and hooking up with people who could help me. So I had to learn everything from just how to organize a business to how to deal with insurance companies to how to recruit people. And it's a lot trickier than I would have ever thought it was. And then for a while, just being able to juggle, still having my teaching job and also making sure that this kept going and growing and learning. And it seems like every day I'm still learning, which makes it exciting, but that can be challenging sometimes, because when you're starting out, you don't even know what you need to know, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So that's those are really great learnings, because when you think about it, there's really two sides you have to learn on. The industry side, right, where they're specific to your industry, the insurance and all that kind of thing, but then just the business side. I mean, how to be a great business owner. And most small to medium-sized businesses and business owners don't really know that side of it very well. On how to. So Martha, what have you learned about yourself during this journey?
I had been a teacher for 37 years. And when you've been doing something like that a long time, you wonder, is there anything else that I could really do as well and be successful in? And because this was a business my husband and I started up, it wasn't like I had to convince someone from the outside, oh yes, I've been a teacher a long time, but I really could learn and I could do this. So the fact that I was able to pick up and do something completely different like this and self-teach and just basically, make sure that the business was successful. And also that my husband and I, we've been married 31 years, but that we could actually work together and, get along and figure this all out because, it's a completely different type relationship, of course. So, I learned a lot about myself and it gave me confidence because I love teaching, but after so many years, I really wanted to reinvent myself for the next few years, of my professional career. And this showed me that I could do it. And that a lot of the skills that I learned as a teacher, the people skills, organizational paperwork, so many of those things were transferable. And it just gave me a lot of confidence that I could do something else.
Yeah, great. And we often find that, when you think about your identity, right? Throughout life, your identity shifts many times. When you're in high school and college, you're a student, that's your identity. You get married, now you're a husband or wife, that's your identity, right? You have kids, you become a father or a mother, and that becomes another identity. So did you find you had to kind of shift that identity from teacher to entrepreneur or business owner?
Absolutely. Yes, because I define myself, that is really the only thing I had done since I graduated from school, and I got additional schooling. I taught different levels, different subjects, but it was still a teacher, so it was very, very difficult because it did become a huge part of myself. And then I realized, well, there are other things in life that are as fulfilling. And certainly with owning mental health practice, I'm definitely helping people. And so that part of me that always wanted to do that is still doing that. I'm just doing it in a different way.
So Martha, what's the future look like for Box Elder Behavioral Health? And what do you see as some of the main challenges as you move forward?
Well, I think it's going to be continuing to see who we would add to our business, because I think as we continue to grow, even like all the insurance claims and all those logistical things, it's probably going to get to the point where it's too much for me alone. So I'm probably going to have to hire someone part-time to be able to help me with some of those things. And then continuing to hire as we have requests for different types of therapy to do that and get additional people on staff. And then also we're getting a lot of requests for couples and marital counseling, and to get an LMFT, which is basically marriage and family therapist. They're very few and far between. So I would love to actively look for someone like that to join our practice, because I would say at least a couple of times a week we get requests for that. And my husband can do it just because he's been doing it for such a long time and had a very well-rounded training, but our residents really don't have that. So I think we might have to come up with some kind of educational component to our business too, where we do tuition and reimbursement to help them to learn these things so that they can take on some of these extra types of therapy that they may not have had training in. So that's the direction I see growing in.
So just a couple more questions. I mean, what advice would you give anyone thinking of going into business?
Well, first thing I would say is that you have to realize it's going to start off small. Don't quit your day job right away because you're still going to need, some income coming in. It's going to be a lot of hard work because you're going to have to keep your regular job for the most part. And then every spare second that you have in the evenings, on the weekends, you're going to have to work on this other project. And realize too that you have to be very patient while it grows, and you have to do a lot of research, a lot of reading. You're going to make some mistakes, so shake it off and just move on, to the next idea, and it will happen.
So, last question: is there any offers or any messages you want to include in the newsletter?
Well, I think, first of all, since we do have some self-pay clients, those are the ones who don't have insurance or anything, we could offer 10% off sessions for self-pay clients. And we also do a sliding scale according to income for our self-pay clients. So we do take some that are lower than our regular rate. We have some limited slots for that. So we can offer that on if they're flexible, about appointment times and dates.
Mhm.
And sometimes too, if it's kind of a complex case, we can have some kind of 10 to 15-minute free consultation about their situation to see if this practice would be a good fit.
Okay, well, that's great. We'll make sure that's in there. And of course, they can go to your website. We'll have that in there as well so that they can book some time if that's what they're looking for. So Martha, that wraps up the interview. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me.